Hello students, now we are going to discuss the next topic of the chapter, how do organisms reproduce, is sexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? Sexual reproduction is a process which involves two parents. It involves the gamete formation, then fertilization of the gametes will take place. But main thing, it leads to variations and cause the evolution. So sexual reproduction, main necessity of the sexual reproduction is this involves the spatial reproductive structures or reproductive organs where gamete formation will take place. So we can say there are two types of organisms. One is prokaryotes and second is eukaryotes. Then how does the sexual reproduction will take place in these organisms? In prokaryotes, it will take place by the process of conjugation, and in the eukaryotes, as you know, they are divided into plants and animals. So plants and animals have different reproductive structures for the formation of gametes. So we will discuss one by one. So first, what is reproductive structure or reproductive organs? The organs which are involved in the formation of spatial gametes is known as reproductive structures. That is divided into two parts. First, primary reproductive organs, and second is secondary reproductive organs. Primary reproductive organs, yes, the organs which involved in the formation of gametes is known as the primary reproductive organs, and the organs which will help in the maturation of the gametes or transport of the gametes is known as the secondary reproductive organs. So I have written here also which will help in the formation of gamete and which will help in the maturation. So today we are going to discuss about the plants. So how does the sexual reproduction takes place in the plants? So definitely plants is also complex, but plants are divided into two types: unisexual flowers plants or the bisexual plants. That means unisexual means the plants which have only one type of sex, means either have male or the females. Example is marigold and papaya. But bisexual plants are the plants which have both type of sex organs or both type of sexual reproductive organs. That means they have both male as well as female. That means example China rose, lotus and mustard. So what is the reproductive structure of the plants? Yes, this is the mainly flower where reproduction will take place. So I have drawn a diagram of the flower here. Flower is divided into two parts. One is accessory parts and secondary is reproductive part. Accessory parts are the parts which will help in the provide support, provide protection to the plants, like sepals. I have written here petals, sepals, thalamus and peduncle. These are four comes under the accessory reproductive parts, and these are come under accessory parts, and second is the reproductive parts that includes first stamen and second is pistil. Okay, we will discuss one by one. First we will discuss the reproductive structures. This is the diagram of the stamen. Stamen is known as the male part of the flower. It is also known as androecium. So it is, if you see its structure, it consists of two parts. This part is known as the anther. It may be unilobed or bilobed. It will depend upon the species. And inside the anther, there are the pollen sacs, which are mainly involved in the formation of pollen grain. That is a male gamete. That means male structure will form the male gamete, and this is the pollen sac that will make the pollen grain. This stalk-like structure is known as the filament, which will provide support to the anther. So second is the female part, that is known as the carpel or pistil. Scientific name is the gynoecium. This part is female part is consists of three parts. First is stigma, second is style, and third is ovary. This broad swollen part which will receive the pollen grain is known as the stigma, and this stalk thin structure is known as the style, and this swollen part is known as the ovary. Ovary bears the spatial structures known as the ovule. So you must keep in mind, ripened ovary, when ovary will ripen, it will make the fruit, and when ovule will ripen, they will make the seed. So I have drawn the diagram. This is the pistil or carpel. These are the stamens or the male parts. Then what is the function of these accessory parts? Yes, first we will discuss about the petals. These are the petals that are the colorful parts of the flower. You can say flowers may be of yellow, red, pink. These colored part of the flowers is known as petals. Why is these are colorful? These are for attracting the insects for the pollination. Second is the sepals. Sepals. These are the sepals. These are the green leaf-like structures is known as the sepals. Why these are green in color? Sepals will provide the protection to flower in bud condition. Okay. And third is the thalamus. This broad structure is known as the thalamus, which will hold the flower. And fourth is the pedicel or peduncle, which will provide stalk, which will provide support to whole flower or the accessory and reproductive parts. So this is all about the flower. In the next we will study about the female part in the detail. Students, now we are going to discuss the next topic, that is the pollen pistil interaction. Yes, it comes under the sexual reproduction in the plants. So first topic is pollen pistil interaction. As you know, pollens are released by the anther, and the pollination is a process by which pollen grains will transfer from anther to stigma. Then what would happen when a pollen grain is transferred from anther to stigma? So whenever any pollen grain will fall on the stigma, you can see here, these are the pollen grains. I can write here also pollen grains. That comes here by the process of pollination. So these pollen grains, when fall on the stigma, they can take the nutrition from the stigma and then swallows. And after that they will produce a pollen tube. So this red structure is known as the pollen tube. And this pollen tube pass from stigma then to style, then it will reach to the ovary. Inside the ovary there is a ovule. Ovule, yes, inside the ovary, this is the ovule where pollen tube has to be reached, and this black dot will show the male germ cells. These male germ cells will reach to the ovule and inside, and then pass inside the embryo sac. So this part is known as the embryo sac, where these male nuclei will be, or male germ cell will be released. Now question arises, how this pollen tube will recognize from where the pollen tube has to be entered. So this part is known as micropyle. Micropyle. You just see here, in this side of the micropyle, this is known as the egg apparatus. And this egg apparatus have some special cells. First, this is known as the egg cell, and this is known as egg cell. These are the synergids. Yes, I can write here synergids. So when pollen tube releases its male nuclei, how it will recognize? These are the synergids that have some special structures known as filiform apparatus. This filiform apparatus is recognized by the pollen tube, and then it will release its male nuclei. Now, one more question is there, how the pollen tube will pass from stigma to style then to ovary. It means pollen tube release some enzymes, that these enzymes will break down the parenchymatous tissue of the carpel, that is known as the pectinase. So this is all about the pollen pistil interaction, how the pollen grain will land on the stigma, then it will develop the pollen tube. That pollen tube pass through the style, reach into the ovary, then it will release its male nuclei. So this is known as the pollen pistil interaction. Inside the ovary there is a special structure known as the ovule, and inside the ovule there is an embryo sac, and this embryo sac is the 7-celled 8-nucleate condition. Okay, so I have written here in the row also, pollen grain fall on the stigma, then develop the pollen tube, reach to the ovary way, from where it will reach to the ovule, and in the ovule inside the embryo sac. So what would happen when the male nuclei will reach inside the embryo sac? So next topic is double fertilization. What is double fertilization? When out of 2 male nuclei or 2 male germ cells, one male nuclei fuse with the egg cell to form the zygote, and other male nuclei fuse with the polar nuclei. So these are the antipodal cells. is the polar nuclei, P and polar nuclei. So these are the two male nuclei. When one male nuclei fuse with the egg cell and other male nuclei will fuse with the polar nuclei, this process will take place at a time. That is why it is known as the double fertilization. So double fertilization is consists of two steps. First is triple fusion and second is syngamy. Triple fusion, triple, yes, when one male nuclei fuse with polar nuclei. Male nuclei is haploid, but polar nuclei has diploid nucleus, that means have two nucleus, its polarity is 2n. Then these will combine and form the 3n structure, that is known as primary endosperm nucleus. Okay, and what is the function of this pen? This pen will provide the nutrition. You can mark it, provide nutrition to the developing embryo. Second step is the syngamy. Syngamy, when male nuclei fuse with egg cells, it will make the zygote, and this zygote will develop into the seed. So N plus M, they will combine together, they will form the diploid structure, zygote. After that, you just see the structure of the seed here. I have drawn. These are the two cotyledons, because I have made a diagram of dicot seed here. This part is known as the plumule, that will develop into the shoot, stem, leaf, branches. And below this part is known as the radicle, that will develop into the root. It will make the complete root system. Then what is the function of cotyledon? Yes, cotyledon will provide the nutrition to the developing plants. So today, now we have discussed the pollen pistil interaction, how the pollen grain will fall, then leads to the ovule and then release the male nuclei inside the embryo cell. Then we have discussed how the fertilization will take place in the plants by the process of triple fusion and syngamy. Both process we have discussed here. After this, seed will be formed, and we have discussed the structure of seed also. Okay students, now we are going to start the next topic, that is the pollination, because we already discussed about the flowers and its parts. So now we just think about it. Male part, that is the stamen, release the pollen grain, and it has to be reached to the stigma of the carpel, where it will goes to the ovary, where it has to be fertilized with the egg cells and the polar nuclei. But question arises, how this pollen grain will transfer? There is a special process that is known as the pollination. Pollination is the process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of a flower, is known as pollination. So pollination is of two types, self-pollination and the cross-pollination. Self-pollination, when pollen grains transfer from anther to stigma of the same flower or the flower of the same plant, is known as self-pollination. You just see the diagram. When pollen grains transfer from anther to the stigma of same flower or anther to the stigma of the another flower, but within the same plant, that is known as self-pollination. And cross-pollination, when pollen grain transfer from a flower of a one plant to the flower of another plant, is known as cross-pollination. For self-pollination, as self-pollination occurs in the same plant, so no external agencies is required. So I have written here, no external agency is required in the self-pollination. But external agency like air, like water, like birds, insects are required in the cross-pollination, because distance may be vary from one plant to another plant. Pollen grain has to be transferred from the meters to kilometers also. So third is pollen grains in the self-pollination will produce in the less amount, because it will not need to cover the large distance. In cross-pollination, pollen grains are produced in large amounts. So in the self-pollination, plants transfer of pollen grains within the flower or the flower of same plant which is genetically similar, so no new variations will be arise over there. In cross-pollination, pollen grains from one flower of one plant to the transfer to the flower of another plant, so variations will be produced there. But self-pollination is further divided into two types. One is autogamy. Autogamy, when pollination occurs within the same flower, is known as autogamy. But when pollination occurs from one flower to the another flower of the same plant, is known as diatenogamy. Hello students, after discussing about the sexual reproduction in the plants, now we are going to discuss about the reproduction in animals. As you know, animals can be divided into two categories. One is bisexual organisms and second is unisexual organism. Bisexual organisms are the organisms in which both male and female lies in the same body. Example, leech and earthworm. And unisexual organisms are the organisms in which male and females are separate. Example, cockroach and humans. So now we will discuss about the reproduction in humans. Yes, humans also have two type of reproductive systems, like primary reproductive organs and the secondary reproductive organ. Primary reproductive organs are the organs which are mainly involved in the gamete formation, like testes in the males and ovary in the females. And secondary reproductive organs are the organs which will help in the transport or maturation of the gametes, like fallopian tube in the females and vasa afferens in the males. But now question rises, when an organism starts to make the gametes, yes, there is a special stage in every organism. The stage in which an organism will starts to make gametes or starts to reproduce is known as the puberty, and it mainly comes in 12 to 13 years in the boys and girls. Okay, now male reproductive system. I have drawn the diagram of male reproductive system here. Okay, let's discuss about it. It consists of a pair of testes, a pair of epididymis, a pair of vasa afferentia, pair of vasa differentia, pair of seminal vesicles, a urethra and a penis. Okay, let's see the diagram also. These are the testes. Yes, primary reproductive organ where sperm formation will take place. So these are the pair of testes, and these red circles is known as seminiferous tubules where sperm formation will takes place. I can mark a sperm formation will takes place. So sperms are formed inside the seminiferous tubules of the testes. Then these will pass into the vasa afferentia. Vasa afferentia, yes, it is a coiled structure which is found inside the testes and help in the transport of sperms. So second is pair of epididymis. Yes, these are the pair of epididymis that will store the sperms temporarily. It means it also help in the maturation of sperms. Okay. After that, a pair of afferentia and a pair of vasa differens. Many times CBSE ask the difference between these two. Yes, vasa afferentia is a coiled structure, whereas vasa differentia is a straight tube-like structure. Vasa afferentia found inside the testes, vasa differens found outside the testes. Vasa afferentia will carry the sperms from the rete testis to epididymis, whereas vasa differens will carry the sperms from epididymis to ejaculatory duct. Okay. After that, accessory glands are also here, like the seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and Cowper's gland. What is the function of these glands? Seminal vesicles gland. These are the thin leaf-like structure which are found here. These mainly release the fructose and ascorbic acid. Fructose will provide nutrition to the sperms. Next is urethra. Urethra, this is the common passage from where sperms will release. Okay, this is the common, either urine or sperms will pass at one time. Now what is the function of these prostate gland and Cowper's gland? Prostate gland will release the anticoagulant enzymes and Cowper's gland will release the mucus. And in the last penis, that is known as the copulatory organ. After that, sperm is there, that is formed in or produced inside the seminiferous tubules. It is a male gamete and contain the haploid number of chromosomes. It means n number of chromosomes. Okay, this is the structure of sperm. This part is known as the head that contain haploid number of chromosome. This is the middle piece. Yes, middle piece. It will provide the energy to the sperm. And this is known as the tail, which will help in the transport of sperm. This is all about the male reproductive system. Now we are going to discuss about the female reproductive system, because we already discussed about the male reproductive system and its detail. Now we are going to discuss about the female. You just see the diagram here. Female reproductive system which consists of a pair of ovaries. These are the pair of ovaries, first and second. It consists of a pair of fallopian tube. If this is first fallopian tube, this will be the second. So two fallopian tube will be there. But you must keep in mind, this fallopian tube is consist of infundibulum, fimbria, ampulla and isthmus. So first you just see the diagram. This is the ovary and these are the suspensory ligament that will hold the ovary. Egg will release, and that egg that is released from the ovaries pass into the infundibulum here. But how? So these are the fimbria that can hold the ovary. So these are the fimbria. First part, infundibulum is the second broader part that can take the egg from the ovary. After that, third part is the ampulla. Ampulla is the site of fertilization. Yes, main thing is there where egg and sperm will fertilize. This is the ampulla only. After this, when egg and sperm will fertilize, and they will form the zygote. That zygote will move into the isthmus, and from the isthmus it will goes to uterine part. So this part is known as the uterine part. After that, this zygote develops into blastocyst, and that blastocyst will attach here. So this lining is very important for the point of view of the exam, because it is known as the endometrium. Endometrium layer is the layer where exactly implantation will take place. What is implantation? The process of attachment of blastocyst on the endometrium layer of the uterus. I am repeating again. The process of attachment of blastocyst on the endometrium lining of the uterus is known as implantation, where successfully process of the fetus will take place. And this is the uterus part that can hold the whole baby. So uterus is also of two types, nulliparous and multiparous. Nulliparous uterus is the uterus which is not able to hold the fetus, and multiparous is the uterus which can hold the fetus. It is the capacity of the uterus, it can hold the fetus of the 10 kg. So after that, this is the vaginal part, from where we can say fetus will be taken out, or it is the part from where the penis will be also release the sperm serum. So, but question arise, what would happen if egg and sperm will not fertilize here? I have told you about when fertilization will take place. After that, blastocyst come and attach here. But what would happen if fertilization will not take place? Yes, if fertilization will not take place, the blood cells that is deposited here, these will burst and release in the form of bleeding. That is known as the menstrual cycle, when fertilization does not take place. This cycle is of 28 to 29 days, and it takes place in all the primates, especially in the females. Okay, so at this time, all the egg cell along with the blood cells will rupture, burst, and we can say release outside in the form of bleeding. So this is the main part of the fetus, which is also known as the womb. Fallopian tube is also known as the oviduct. So this is the female reproductive part which is found in the lower abdominal part of the females. Then how it is attached to our body? Yes, this part is known as the mesovarium, with the help of which this part is attached to our body. So after that, question arises, if fertilization will take place and fetus will form, then how the fetus will take the nutrition and remove the waste? Yes, this is the placenta. It is a cord-like structure that will connect the mother to its fetus. What are the main function of this placenta? This placenta will help in the exchange of gases. Exchange of gases, yes. Fetus will exchange, it will take the oxygen from the blood of the mother and remove the CO2 into the blood of the mother only by the placenta. Second is the removal of waste. If metabolism of the fetus is going on, at that time it will release the waste also, and that waste is released to the blood of the mother. And this placenta will provide the nutrition, because mother is taking the nutrition. That nutrition has to be passed to the fetus only by the placenta. After discussing about the male and female reproductive system, now we are going to discuss about the reproductive health. What is reproductive health? Before discussing about the reproductive health, you must know what is health. According to WHO, that is World Health Organization, what it states, if a person is mentally, physically and socially fit, then it is considered as a healthy person. But now, what is here? Reproductive health. It means if the reproductive organs of a person is working properly in a functional way, and it is making the gametes in a proper way or in a proper cycle, that is known as the reproductive health. But there are so many issues that are related with the reproductive health. So I have considered here reproductive health problems. What are these problems that you need to be aware at this time? First is overpopulation. if you will not aware about the reproductive health and do not know anything about the what are the consequences of the reproductive health, at this time it leads to the overpopulation. Day by day population is going to be increased, and that are creating the problems in the employment and the food and in the energy sectors also. Second is the awareness about the reproductive health. All peoples are not aware about these techniques that are going to be discovered new by the government and launches. So it is the necessity of the normal public also and the requirement of the persons also. The government should release any such guidelines to the public, then they can know at the proper time about these techniques. But persons are not aware, that is why reproductive health problems are arising. And so many persons are there in the country that do not know what is birth control and what are the birth control technique. What do you mean by birth control? If any couple do not want any child at this time, it means that will be the unwanted child. So what can the couple can do? That means the person will use the special assisted reproductive techniques that will prevent to take that child. So, but most of the people do not aware about these techniques also. And most important thing is sex education. That should be given to the schools in a proper way in the classes, but that is not implemented properly, and in the future this is the main thing that will create a problems in the mind of the students and in the society also. So now we are going to discuss about the birth control methods. Birth control methods are the methods that will prevent the fertilization of gametes. So what the name we will give? That is the contraception. So contraception is a process which will prevent the fertilization of the gametes like egg and sperm. So these methods are known as the contraceptive methods. These methods are divided into two categories. First is temporary method and second is permanent method. Temporary methods are the methods which will prevent the fertilization for some time period. That is why they are known as the temporary methods. So first is the natural method. Natural methods do not create any type of risk, but these natural methods will prevent the fertilization of gametes for some time period like the lactational ammonia, coitus interruptus, etc. Second is the barrier methods. Barrier methods include all those devices that comes in between the fertilization. That means they will come in between the fertilization and avoid the contact of the fertilization or avoid the contact of the gametes. Example, cervical caps and the condoms also. Next is IUD, intrauterine devices. These devices are the devices which are fitted inside the reproductive systems that will prevent the fertilization. Example, copper T and LNG20. Copper T is made up of the plastic and it will release the copper ions, and those copper ions will suppress the motility of the sperm and make it unhostile the uterus also. Next is the oral devices. Some new oral tablets are discovered by the government like Mala D and Mala Iron that will also prevent the fertilization. Implants. What are implants? Implants are the new devices which are injected or transplanted by the doctors in the upper arm of the lower areas. It can prevent the fertilization up to maximum 5 to 6 years. This is a very good method for the long-term purpose because it can make a gap of 5 to 6 years in between the childs or children's. Next is the permanent method. What are the permanent method? The method which can completely remove the chance of fertilization. For example, tuberculotomy. In the tuberculotomy, this method is used in the human females where fallopian tube is cutted and ligated with the surgical thread to prevent the fertilization of egg and sperm. It will make a permanent cut and it will make the permanently avoid the contact of the sperms and the eggs. That is why it is known as the tuberculotomy. Second is vasectomy. It can carry out in the males where vasa differentia of the male is cutted and then ligated with the surgical thread. That means it will do? It will prevent the transport of sperms. So this is known as vasectomy. Third method is laparoscopy. Laparoscopy is a technique in which an instrument is used that is known as the laparoscope. It is a machine that can go and then ligate the fallopian tube, okay, we can say tie the fallopian tube and prevent the fertilization. These are the permanent methods. After that, one more question arises: STD. What is STD? Sexually transmitted disease. The disease that will spread by the sexual contact between the partners is known as the STD. There are many examples of the STD, like bacterial STD that includes the gonorrhea and syphilis, protozoans STD that includes the trichomoniasis, and viral STD includes the genital herpes and the AIDS. So I am going to discuss about the AIDS here. What is AIDS? AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Okay, what is the meaning of the AIDS? In this disease, the immunity of the person will be lower down due to the causative agent HIV. HIV is a human immunovirus. Then why we are discussing this? Because it is a STD, and how it will transmit from one person to other person. It can either transmit from the infected mother to the fetus. Then it can transmit by the infected needle or syringes that can be used in the hospitals for the treatment of the patients. Next, it can spread by the sexual contacts between the couples, and it can also spread during the blood transfusion. Then how can we prevent these type of disease? If we will do the screening of the blood at the proper time, we can prevent that disease. Second, screening of the pregnant ladies. If the mother is found to be infected HIV positive, then the child can be aborted. Avoid the multiple partners is the best way to prevent the STDs. So these are the reproductive health topic, its related problems, then contraceptive methods and the STDs. Thank you.